Take a look around you, right now. Now imagine if the world you're looking at slowly started to go out of focus. Well, for millions of people, that's not a hypothetical. Today, we're digging into a silent pandemic that is literally, and I mean literally, changing how we see the world. Let's jump right in.
When you hear the word pandemic, you probably think of a virus, right? But what we're talking about today is a whole different kind of pandemic. This one doesn't spread through germs. It spreads through our modern lifestyles and our environments. And it's affecting millions. But for some reason, the alarm bells just aren't ringing like they should.
So this really brings us to the big question we're tackling. With all of the time we spend indoors staring at screens, is our collective vision actually getting worse? I mean, are we as a species becoming more and more short-sighted? Well, let's find out.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around what's going on, we have to look at the numbers. And I gotta warn you, they're pretty staggering. This isn't just about a few more people needing glasses. No, this is a massive global shift in human vision.
This chart, wow, it tells such a powerful story. If you look back at the 1990s, myopia rates were, relatively stable. But just look at that steep climb to where we are today. And the projection for 2050, that's not just the trend, folks. That's an exponential explosion of cases all across the globe.
Let that sink in for a minute. Half the world's population. That's almost 5 billion people who might not be able to see distant objects clearly. A statistic like that, it's a huge red flag that something really profound is happening to our eyesight.
Which, of course, begs the question, why? What on earth is driving this crisis? It's time to play detective. We're going to investigate the main suspects behind this global rise in nearsightedness. Before we get into the suspects, let's just do a quick primer so we're all on the same page. Myopia, you know it as nearsightedness, happens when the eyeball grows just a little too long. And because of that extra length, light focuses just in front of your retina instead of right on it. And the result? The world at a distance just becomes a blur.
So the whole investigation really boils down to this classic debate: nature versus nurture. Is this huge increase in myopia happening because it's just in our genes, getting passed down from one generation to the next, or is there something about our modern world, our lifestyle, that's literally reshaping our eyes?
And this is where all the evidence is pointing. Yeah, genetics definitely play a part, but researchers are getting more and more focused on these environmental factors. It seems to be this perfect storm of intense, close-up work on our screens combined with a massive drop in the amount of time we spend outside. That combination seems to be the trigger for myopia, especially for kids and young adults.
This quote from a public health expert just hits so hard. It really captures how serious this is. Think about it. We've introduced this brand new variable, constant screen time, into childhood development on a global scale. And now, well, we're seeing the consequences play out right in front of us.
It's so easy to just think, so what? People can just get glasses, big deal. But the impact of this crisis goes so much deeper than that. It creates these real-world consequences that are about way more than just blurry vision.
For a kid, not being able to see the board in class isn't just a small thing. It can directly hurt their learning and their future. It might make them shy away from joining in on the playground or playing sports. And all of that can create some very real psychosocial effects, hitting their confidence and social skills during some of the most important years of their life. And the cost isn't just personal, it's economic. I mean, on a global scale. When you add up all the costs tied to vision problems, especially lost productivity, the economic burden is estimated to be over $250 billion every single year. That shows you how widespread and damaging this issue has become.
Okay, so the problem is huge. We get it. But it is not hopeless. The good news is we're learning more and more about how to fight back. So in this last section, we're going to look at the playbook for prevention and treatment.
The first line of defense is just being aware. This here is a simple but super important checklist. If you're a parent or a teacher and you see these kinds of behaviors, squinting, getting really close to the TV, complaining about headaches a lot, that is a massive signal that it's time for an eye exam. Catching it early is absolutely key. Here is one of the most practical things you can start doing, like right now. It's called the 20-20-20 rule. It's a super simple digital hygiene practice to cut down on eye strain. So every 20 minutes you're staring at a screen, you just take a 20-second break, look at something about 20 feet away. That's it. It gives your eye muscles a much-needed little vacation from all that intense close-up focusing.
And we're moving beyond just prevention. Medical science has made these huge leaps forward.
We're not just talking about regular old glasses anymore. This shows some modern ways we can actually slow down the progression of myopia in kids, things like specialized lenses and low-dose eye drops. The main takeaway here is that we now have proactive treatments, not just reactive ones.
And that brings us to our final thought. We know what's happening, we have a pretty good idea why it's happening, and we have the tools to do something about it. The only question left is a personal one, really, for all of us. Are we going to consciously change our habits, get outside more, take those screen breaks, and actually prioritize our eye health so we can bring our collective future back into focus? The choice, quite literally, is in how we decide to see the world.